It all began back in the times of Charlemagne, when a monk set off on the long journey from Jerusalem to Aachen, bearing valuable presents for the emperor on the occasion of the consecration of St. Mary's Church. And what that humble monk laid at the emperor's feet was truly overwhelming. The swaddling clothes and the loincloth of Jesus, the dress of the Blessed Virgin, and a blood-stained cloth that once wrapped the severed head of John the Baptist. Symbols of the incarnation of Christ, his works, and his death. To begin with, the precious objects disappeared under lock and key, and it would be a long time before lowly believers were given a chance of a glimpse at these relics. Until the 13th century, to be precise. There is a Bavarian monastery that still possesses letters of invitation to that very first Aachen pilgrimage in the year of our Lord 1273. And this grand festival of the faithful soon became an established event. The pilgrimage was repeated, at first at irregular intervals, then regularly every 7 years. People thronged to Aachen, which became, along with Rome, Santiago de Compostela and Jerusalem, one of the holy sites and the most prominent places of pilgrimage in all of Christianity. Pilgrims traveled from all over Europe, many of them from Spain, Italy and Hungary, some of them in full knowledge that they might never see their homeland again. They were simple folk that travelled on foot and bought passage on ships down the Rhine and Moselle rivers. They ate at hospices, peas with bacon, wine and beer. On their travels they earned their upkeep through begging, folklore and showmanship. The attractions even included dancing bears. Sometimes they pitched camp on the open fields. Tens of thousands of them were sighted between Aachen and Jülich in the Middle Ages. Then, having arrived in Aachen, it was time for the main event. The believers were finally graced with a chance to see the relics which, since 1239, have been held in safekeeping in the precious shrine of the Virgin Mary. The crowds were enormous, the octagon of the Palatine Chapel soon too small. And so the church was extended. The Aachen Glasshouse was built and has been the new home of the Shrine of the Virgin Mary since 1414. But even this gigantic choir hall could not accommodate all the people. Too great the fascination emanating from the relics, too great the pilgrims' desire to see these testimonies of Jesus and of the Christian faith with their own eyes. To enable the hundreds of thousands to share in the ceremonies, the Shrine of the Virgin Mary was drawn by horse and cart in a procession through the town, and the 4 relics were displayed from the tower of the cathedral westwork. People crowded around the cathedral, their eyes turned upwards towards the heavens. The roofs of the surrounding houses were removed to allow a clear view, and in 1440 there was a catastrophe. Under the weight of the faithful, an attic collapsed and 19 pilgrims fell to their deaths. In response, the city senate ruled that only low buildings would be allowed to be built around the cathedral so as not to block the view of the tower. 1986 marked the last time that the relics were displayed from the tower. Even today, the pilgrimage to Aachen is still a major constant in the history of Christianity. Hundreds and thousands of pilgrims from all over the world still gather every 7 years to make their pilgrimage around Aachen Cathedral. People find spiritual sustenance here and seek closeness to God in the fellowship of the faithful. The Aachen Pilgrimage moves people,